thankful and expressing our gratitude is an important part of being happy in life. I call upon Dr. K. Mahalakshmi, Assistant Professor, Department of English, to deliver an vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanksgiving is a time of togetherness and gratitude. I take much pleasure to propose a vote of thanks on this special day. First and foremost, I would like to thank the management and principal for rendering support and guidance to conduct event like this. Next, I would like to thank our HOD, Dr. M. Anandi ma'am, for being the person who motivates us in all our endeavors and also for being the driving force. Next, I would like to render my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Regin Sylvest, President, Cape Comorin Trust, and his team for the excellent coordination and organization of the event in a more successful way. I also would like to thank all the chairpersons of all the sessions for being here to make the event a grand one. We are very grateful to have you all here. Thank you, sirs and madams. I would like to thank all the participants and paper presenters for being here to make the event victorious. And also take this moment to thank our faculty and students for rendering a lot of support for the smooth conduct of the program. Once again, I thank you all and I wish you all a great day. Thank you.
If you haven't been able to achieve something, today is the best time to start working towards it again. With this optimistic quote, we wish you all a pleasant, fabulous Friday. It gives us immense pleasure in welcoming this knowledgeable session's chairman, Dr. Alexis Arisabel Enriquez, Dr. R.S. Regin Silvest, President, Cape Comorin Trust, Dr. Anandi M., Head Department of English, the faculty, and the students who are presenting the papers. I have learned that people will forget what we said. People will forget what we did, but people will never forget how we made them feel in their future. Being one among them is a great blessing. Now, we would like to call one among that person, Miss Jennifer Vincila C., Assistant Professor, Department of English in Sri Ramakrishna College of Arts and Science for Women, to introduce the chair of this session.
I deem it a great honor in welcoming our chairperson, Dr. Alexis Arizabel Enriquez, Associate Professor um, from the University of Abra, Philippines. She finished her master's in arts in teaching English and Doctor of Education in the University of Northern Philippines, Vigan City, while her bachelorate degree, AB English, at the University of East Recto Manila, with a stay in Holy Spirit Academy of Benguet for her basic education days as her Truth in Love school motto as her personal mantra. Her various designations in IST since 2004, Technical Paper Advisor of the Technocrat, Director of Information and Publication, Dean of the College of Teacher Education, has tremendously taught her worthwhile experiences as she engaged with, with countless educators in the professional world. Awarded as faculty researcher in 2019 and 2020 by her institution, her skills and passion to explore in research paved her way to local, national, regional, and international presentations and viewed as best presenters. Most of her research have been published in international refereed and peer-reviewed journals and Scopus Index international journals. She is also a reviewer of several international journals, served as judge in international research presentations, speaker in international webinars, and appointed as Vice President for External Affairs for Internal Society of Teachers, Administration and Research Global Headquarters. Recently, she was awarded as Most Outstanding Research Advocate by Asia Pacific Awards Council on July 2020. With her stance as a AACCPU accreditor, she has accredited several universities and colleges in the Philippines. As an ISO 9001-2015 internal auditor of her school, she had ardently supported her school in various quality assurance endeavors and yielded the same sense in her delivery of equal, sorry, quality education to her valued students. Now I wish Dr. Alexis to take over the session.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Okay, so good afternoon. It's 1:45 p.m. here in the Philippines. So we pronounce my country, not Philippines, all right? But we pronounce it as Philippines. Okay, so good afternoon. Am I audible, ladies and gentlemen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
You are
you
audible.
are.
Okay, thank you
Yes,
so
Yes,
much.
ma'am.
But
ma'am.
before I would, thank you. So on my laptop I see 78 participants. Okay, so thank you for coming over. I would like to thank, of course, before I would share the prepared slides for everyone, I'd like to thank all of the organizers, of course, from the Department of English, Sri Shamakrishna College of Arts and Science for Women in Tamil Nadu, India. Of course, this is in coordination with Cape Comorin Trust, headed, of course, by my friend, Dr. Regine. I hope Dr. Regine is with me today. Of course, also to Dr. Anandi, the head Department of English, and Dr. K. Chitra, the principal of such institution. Okay, so good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen. So allow me to present to you the prepared 13 slides, 12 slides, just a few minutes for that. Allow me. Okay, so there. Oh, okay. Is it shared? Not yet? Oh my God. Uh-huh. Wait, for a while. A window. Oh, it's not. It's there. Okay. Could you see my slides? Is it being shown now? There. Okay. Could you see already the first slide? Could you see the first slide, ladies and gentlemen?
Oh, ma'am.
No?
Yes, we can. It's seen, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Ah,
we can.
Okay, all right. So before we move into the meat of my sharing, which talks about Commonwealth literature during our time here in the for Philippine era, okay, we all know that literature could not do away with history. Both of these are indispensable. History is there, hence literature bounds, okay? And side by side, literature came from or cascaded from what we call history. So I came up with this kind of sharing or this kind of title, Philippine Commonwealth Literature, a reminiscence of the past. So help me journey in the past with the Philippine government, which it has experienced a lot of difficulties, a lot of pains, and also, notwithstandingly, the glory it has brought all of this colonizations. So just like any other country, the Philippines was not paved the way with any colonization from foreign big countries. So we can't help but give you a little background or a little recount on the history of Philippine Commonwealth period. Okay, so just the background, the Commonwealth of the Philippines was administered here in the Philippines from 1935 until 1946. There was an exile during 1942 to 1945 because, as you could see, for almost 300 years, the Spaniards was the very first colonizers here in the Philippines. Of course, they gave us a lot of things to benefit from as we have become, and we have enjoying a lot of them right now. Okay, so Christianity. They have also given us a lot of education, a little background of culture, which we enjoy a bit of those now. Okay, that's for 300 years, and then came along the Americans. Okay, who have shaped also our education. Most of the educational perspectives that we have right now from the Philippines, we owe everything to the Americans. Of course, we have the homicides. If you would like to have a concise, or shall I say comprehensive history of the educational system of the Philippines, it was, of course, taken from the American period. Though the American period during the Philippine government was just so short a time as compared with the Spaniards. Okay, then came along after the American regime, we now have Japan. Okay, that was from 1942 to 1945 when Japanese occupied the Philippines. Of course, again, it was not that easy for these years, for these 3 years, since during this time, Japanese colonizers disallowed, okay, publications of any letters, publications of any literature, publications of any essays, of any genre during that time. So they almost killed the Philippine press freedom. Okay, so that was 1942 to 1945. Then came along, all right, with the American. This was established by Tidings McDuffalo and prepared the country for independence. In 1946, the Commonwealth ended and the Philippines became an independent republic act provided for an article, okay, this is 18 of the 1935 Philippine Constitution. Okay, now, also during this period, there was the founding of Silliman universities, of Presbyterian missionaries, okay, the Philippine Normal School. All right, what I am mentioning now to you are actually old schools which were products of this periods, okay? And English newspapers like the Daily Bulletin, which we still have up to this time, the cable news, Philippine Free Press, help boost, okay, English usage or the maximization of using English as the medium of communication and instruction during those times. There were also different genres that came along. The first verse and prose efforts of Filipino student, public Filipino Students Magazine. We have a short-lived quarterly published in California by Filipino pensionados, or what we call the government scholars during those times. We also have the UP College Folio. So during these times, somehow, all right, somehow there was a freedom of publication. Filipinos were very free in writing their emotions, their experiences, and so on. And there were presence of the different literary genre during those times. Okay. Also, newspapers were already published. Okay. We have newspapers and magazines like the Philippine Herald, Philippine Education Magazine, but now renamed into Philippine Magazine. Later, the Manila Tribune, the Graphic Women's Outlook, and Women's Home Journal. There were also publications, of course, introduced by the works of past. Okay, this persons or this Filipino are the early writers. Okay, so we have past Marquez Benitez, Jose Garcia Villa, Loreto Paras, Luis Dato, and many others. And there were also cash incentives during these times of about 1,000 pesos. So that will be equivalent to, I don't know how many rupees. Okay, if the rupees for 1 rupee for a peso, I really don't know, but you can calculate how much during those times were already the cash incentives for such works. Literary Philippine Writers Association, National Writers Workshop, which put out the Literary Apprentice. So again, they were very free in as far as writing is concerned. So there were also a lot of significant publications of this fertile, we call it fertile period. Actually, as a teacher, okay, of the undergrad and then the masteral, I really can't help, but we always go back if we touch literature. Why? Of course, all of us are into equal footing. We cannot do away with interpreting any literary piece of any literary genre if we do not study history of such person, of such writer, when, all right, when the work was done. We have to include the social milieu. We have to include the biography of the author. We need to include a lot of things for us to have a careful critic or criticism or interpretation of such literary piece. Okay, so these significant publications were Filipino poetry, Manila, a collection of verse, English-German anthology, okay, Jose Garcia Villa, many voices and poems of Davilion, poems and chorus of America, and many others. So I am sharing with you now that during the Commonwealth period, different literary genre really abounds, and because of that, writers, Filipino writers during these times really were so free in expressing their emotions, in expressing their own thoughts, in expressing their own ideas on that particular period. So there was a very, very free writing during those times, unlike during those Spanish regime, American regime, Japanese regime, wherein they have to sought for permission from this government, from this colonizers before they would publish anything. And also during the Spanish colonization, of course, the the medium of instruction would also be Spanish and not American, not English, or not Filipino or Tagalog. That's our native language. Okay, they have never been allowed to do that. And also in the American regime, it was only during the time that the English language was maximized. But in the Japanese period, no Filipino writer could write using Tagalog or Filipino or English, only in Japanese language. Okay, but in the Commonwealth period, Filipino writers during those times were so free. Actually, there were already what they call local publications, which did not transpire during the three mentioned colonizations. But in the Commonwealth period, they were really allowed to, since there was already freedom of expression, freedom of the press, they were allowed to come up with what we call local newspapers or local magazines, wherein writers during those times could already maximize their own dialect or their own language. So there were local newspapers during the Commonwealth period, free to write whatever emotions they would have, whatever ideas they would have pertaining to any theme, be it about the nature, be it about the government, be it about their own families, be it their own experiences. So everything was of freedom. Okay, they were all free during those times, right? So literary genres, as you can see, from poetry, from novel, from short stories, and many others, were really so much during the Commonwealth literature, Commonwealth period of the Philippine government. Okay, so again, these are also some of the literary pieces that were written during those times. The Wound and the Scar, okay, Winds of April, His Native Soil, all right, How My Brother Leon Brought Home a Wife and Other Stories, Galang's Life and Success, okay, what else? Literature and Society. You could pinpoint just merely looking at the title of this literature, this literary pieces, you could pinpoint that they could write anything under the sun, like The Wound and the Scar. They could write about their pains and the previous colonizations. They could give their anxieties about the government. Winds of April, they could write about the beauty of summer here in the Philippines, his native soil. He could write everything, all the natural resources, all the beauty that they could see in their own homeland. All right. And then How My Brother Leon Brought Home a Wife. Actually, I've chosen this because this is one of the most famous, okay, I would say most famous short story during the Commonwealth period. And I have personally chosen this because it really talks about everything about a woman, of course. Since I'm a woman speaker, I can't help but delve into the same character as well. Okay, and then Life and Success and Literature and Society. So just merely taking a look at the title of these literary pieces, you could have already a bright bird's eye view of what was happening or what happened during those periods. Okay. So there were also literary awards and competitions. So the first Commonwealth Literary Award were given by our president to Salvador P. Lopez for Literature and Society, Manuel Ardila for How My Brother Brought Home a Wife and Other Stories. So this is the personal choice. I will be giving you an eye view later on. Zulbeta de Costa for Like the Mulave. Mulave is a tree. So, all right. And then His Native Soil is a novel. So these were the literary pieces that garnered awards during those times. Okay. Government recognition of literary merit came in the form of Republic Cultural Heritage Awards, the Pro Patria Awards for Literature, and the National Artist Awards. And these are the most famous awards given during this period. Okay, so the National Artist Award included several prominent writers during these times: Jose Garcia Vela, Nick Joaquin, Carlos P. Romulo, and many others. Okay, so because of their creativity, because of their intelligence and knowledge in literary works, the government during these times awarded these people and awarded these writers. Okay, so we will now start, as I said a while back, in studying a piece of literature of any genre. We can't help but give also a brief background on the author, and especially his salient points, a simple biography. So this is the author I've chosen, Manuel Ardila. Okay, he is from Bawang, La Union. La Union is a province here in the Philippines. It's a 4-hour drive from my province, which is Abra. Oh, by the way, Abra is located at the most northern part of the Philippines. So Again, for history, there are three islands of the Philippines. We have the Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Northern part is Luzon, and then Visayas and Mindanao would be at the southern part. Okay, and I'm sure all of you knows the city, the capital city of the Philippines, which is Manila. So that is at the center, or that is what you call now the national capital region. So La Union belongs to Luzon. It's just a 4-hour drive from my province, which is Abra. Manuel Arguela is a short story writer, a guerrilla, and therefore a hero. I just included there a hero. Okay, he studied in UP. So as I mentioned, University of the Philippines is one of the oldest universities here in the Philippines, okay? And became famous during his time because he was a writer, he was intelligent at that, and he was an activist, okay? Father was a farmer, okay? And mother was a potter. So mediocrity living did not hinder him to further his studies and has won several, if not many, awards for his a lot of works. His works varied from poetry, short story, novel, and that. Yeah, the three of those. Okay, so here now is the story which I've chosen. This has won a lot of awards during that time. It's titled How My Brother Leon Brought Home a Wife. So I just cut it, all right, and give you a very brief background of what the story is all about. It's too simple. Maria and Leon just got married and finally decided to go home to Leon's village, which is called Nagrebkan, a very, very small village in La Union, where the writer lives. Okay, Maria, okay, the wife, has never lived in a village. Never. So she is a city girl. She lives in the capital city. She lives in Manila. She is always mesmerized by the lives of the city, by the business of the city. Okay, while Leon was not at all used to live in the city. So you could just see the discrepancy of the two characters. Maria, a lady who have never seen how a village look like or how a province look like, and Leon, the other character, was never used to the business of the limelight in the city. So the discrepancy is already there. The discrepancy of the two main characters are already there, characterized by, of course, Maria and Leon. So it was a test designed to see if Maria can adjust and accept the life of the village and make it her own home and not anymore her own city and not anymore her own home back to the city. It's a new life. It's a new beginning. It's a new journey of her own life. Okay. Baldo is the brother of Leon, reassures him about her love, that should be love. Okay, not live. Love for Leon and commitment to their marriage. He confirms his observation that Maria was ready to embrace their house as her own home. So they were met by Aldo in a caritela. You see here the picture, everybody. Would you answer if you see the picture here at the left side of this PowerPoint? Could you see? Hello?
Yes, 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 we can see,
Could
ma'am.
you see a cart pulled by a carabao or a cow? That is the term of caritela. That is how a caritela look like. So they were not conducted by using a taxi, by a four-wheel, but you could already see here a picture, a tone, all right, of how a villager would be in would the routine and the lifestyle of a villager. The Caritella. The Caritella here give you would give you a view of what to expect when you go to a ceremony and regarding the conduct of the new bride. In the end, all right, the family accepts Maria as its new member, and Maria accepts them as their new home. So the story is so simple. It's just about how Maria would be adjusting herself to a new home. And about Leon, his love to Maria is unquestionable. It's undoubtedly real love because he could sacrifice, okay, from the city because they have to study in the city and had to go home. All right. You could just imagine here the passion of a Filipino, okay, if they want to court a woman, they would do something, they would do everything just to, just to get or have the yes from that woman they truly love. Okay. So there were criticisms, there were interpretations as to morals, values, and the plot of this story. So the moral of the story, the central move of the story, central core, that should be core of the story is the ability to sacrifice things for people you love. That's very general. And we see this literary pieces, we see this theme not only during the Commonwealth period, even up to this time, we see such a theme. Okay. Maria was brought up in a life of comforts in the city. However, she loved Leon truly and was committed to adapt his lifestyle. She was willing to uproot her entire life and give up this to settle in a village finally. She was also loving and caring towards his family, becoming a part of the family seamlessly. So that's the moral of the story. Let's go into values. The story highlights the value of togetherness and the family, togetherness in a family, rather. It speaks about loving and caring for each other or for one another. This entails and necessitates the ability and willingness to sacrifice selfish desires or even comforts to make your loved ones happy, just in the case of Maria. Okay? The story praises the ability to adapt to new circumstances and being positive to change and growth. It talks about overcoming hardships and fears and ultimately in finding peace and happiness in each other's betterment and well-being. Another message of the story is not judging people based on appearances and giving them space to express themselves and accept them for their differences. It also celebrates a conservative and simple lifestyle over luxurious and ostentatious ways. Okay, so with that, I would like to end my sharing with you of how the Commonwealth literature, okay, is all about during my in the Philippines rather, that the theme, okay, whatever the feelings and emotions that transpired during those times are still felt up to this. Actually, the knowledge or the experiences, okay, the intelligence of these writers are still felt up to this time. And we can't help but as literature teachers, we can't help but adopt this kind of style of writing of this writers during those times. And in my discussions also with my master's classes and in my undergrad classes, we really go back. We always go back to the past because reading their lifestyles or reading their styles in writing are really so amazing that we can help but adopt this kind of styles. Okay, And literature is life. Up to this time, we can't help but be amazed, all right, by these readings. And mind you, we cannot do away with this past literature. What we have become right now, we owe everything to our past. So we enjoy our teaching, especially in literature, since literature is all about us. Literature is all about the experiences, and we owe them what we have become right now. We owe everything in the past. Thank you so much, and have a nice day. I hope I was able to give you a bird's eye view on the literature. What kind of literature did we have during the Commonwealth period of the Philippines? Thank you. This is Dr. Enriquez. Thank you so much.